Yesterday, you might remember, I got a text from somebody who struggles with their hearing, and they say they've been using disposable masks, mandatory now to wear a mask if you're going into a shop or if you're travelling on public transport, but they are finding that the elastic bits pop their hearing aids off their ears. So then they take off the hearing aids, but then all that they can see are people's masks moving when they're speaking. You can't lip read if everyone's wearing a mask. Well, a couple of weeks ago, it turns out, one of the Cambridgeshire Deaf Association's trustees posted a video offering advice on this. And that video has since been viewed by 100,000 people. Andrew Palmer is Chief Executive of the Cambridgeshire Deaf Association. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Dottie.
Clearly then, this is not a problem affecting only my texter yesterday.
Well, it's certainly not. I think many people for the first time since Friday would be discovering that they too need to read lips and maybe never thought of it. But now masks are around, more people are kind of discovering they've got hearing loss. And then those people with hearing loss who wear hearing aids, you're right, they're struggling with masks because the masks do tend to pop off hearing aids. And heaven forbid, there's probably going to be a few hearing aids lost in drains or in the grass or along the town streets in the next few weeks' time to come.
Oh dear. What advice have you got then, Andrew? What would you suggest?
Well, first things first, I think it's a little bit of patience when putting a mask on or taking it off and just checking that it's there. So try not to rush the process. So it can work, but trying to do it quickly is going to make it more risky. If you've got hair, then tying hair back into a bun with an elastic tie or something to keep the hair out of the way normally helps. There are a couple of things you can get which make the process a bit easier if you've got a hearing aid. So the first thing is you can buy a mask which you can tie up rather than use elastic around the ears. So you can tie it around the back of your head, and that removes the problem with respect to elastic in the ears. And finally, you can buy these small implements on on the internet, which are kind of extensions. So rather than hook the mask around the ear, you can hook them around a little clasp which sits on the back of the head so they don't interfere with your hearing aids. But really the main thing is, if you haven't got those kinds of masks or those kinds of tools, just to kind of take your time when you're putting them on and taking them off and making sure they're there. Another great tip is, if you're going to remove your mask or put it back on, try and do it in a place where you haven't got a lot of stuff around your feet, so in a kind of clear space, which means if you do drop it, then you'll be able to find it easily.
Yeah, and don't do it near any open drain covers.
No, That's right. Don't do it near those. But hearing loss affects about 160,000 people in Cambridgeshire. So it's you can imagine a city the size of kind of Peterborough almost, full of people with hearing loss. So this kind of thing, masks, lip reading, hearing aids, affects a lot of people in Cambridgeshire. So it's a good question that the person raised yesterday.
Well, yeah, it's a really serious problem. I wonder, Andrew, if a few people who haven't thought of themselves as suffering from hearing loss are kind of discovering that in their daily life, they actually do rely quite a lot on lip reading, and maybe their hearing's not quite as good as they thought.
That'll be happening, I think, to hundreds, if not thousands of people, I would have thought. A lot of people are in denial, maybe, about their hearing loss, so kind of know they might have a problem. Maybe their friends and family kind of constantly tell them they're missing things, or they keep having to ask people to repeat. But now's the time when people are wearing masks, they realise just how much the visual side of sensory perception, so basically what it is that your eyes see someone's lip move and actually plays that sound in your brain. It's just a phenomenon called the mcgurk effect, and it means that you actually hear with your eyes. So when a mask covers up the mouth, your brain no longer hears that sound, even though you never heard it in the first place. You just saw it. It's a really fascinating part of how the mind works. But yeah, that'll be happening to a lot of people.
Really interesting. If we've learnt nothing else through the course of this morning's show, Andrew, I've learnt about the mcgurk effect. What about the kind of lip reading issue? Is there a way around that for people who rely on lip reading?
The lip reading issue? Yes, there is. So, I'm looking at a big pile of envelopes right now, actually, in a box, hundreds of them, because people from around the county and around the country have been getting in touch with us to order a badge which says I'm a lip reader, and we've got feedback from people saying it actually works and people take it seriously. So if you want to order a badge which is quite kind of looks quite cool, it says I'm a lip reader on it, or there's another one that says I use sign language. You can order them from our website. They're only £1 each, and that's CAMS, short for Cambridgeshire Deaf, as in can't hear, cambridgedef.org. Go on there, a couple of quid, get yourself a badge, and you might find that people either briefly move the mask down for you or try and find another way to communicate to try and smooth the path through the end of this pandemic.
So actually, it's not just things that people who are hard of hearing need to do. All of us maybe need to be a little bit more aware and just a little bit more, I don't know, mindful or patient maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I think, it's amazing when we all go on holiday to another country and there's a language barrier, people can get very ingenious with how they're going to communicate things about all the things that they want in a shop or what they want to try and say. But when it comes to people discovering that someone's got hearing loss or deafness, they're not, suddenly all the confidence seeps from them as if they don't know what to do. So it's just a case of staying confident. If you come across someone who's got hearing loss or lip read, stay confident, be gestural, be yourself, and that should normally be enough to kind of smooth the interaction.
Well, it sounds, Andrew, like lots of people have been finding your website and your resources really, really helpful. How can people find out more about the Cambridgeshire Deaf Association and maybe access some of those resources?
Certainly, well, go to camsdef.org. So that's CAMS, short for Cambridgeshire Deaf. .org. Have a look on there. There's a few icons where you can, right at the top of the front page, click those icons to get the badges or look at other things we do. And then on our social media and Facebook, we've got plenty of videos, a few tips about how deaf people or people with hearing loss can use their iPhones and use apps that are already on the iPhones to try and pick up what people are saying. Or if people can't use their voices, there are sign language users, how the phones can speak on their behalf. There's loads of tips. Loads of people are looking at the site at the moment and Facebook to get tips and information. In fact, we've made 35 videos just about coronavirus to put information in sign language about the pandemic as it went through. So anyone's welcome to look at those as well and make use of what we've got.
Well, it sounds like you've been busy. Andrew, thank you very much. Really, really interesting talking to you. Andrew Palmer there, Chief Executive of the Cambridgeshire Deaf Association. And yeah, it sounds like if this is something that you struggle with, then maybe that could be a place for some really, really useful information and resources.